Hello, everyone. This is my project submission for the Sociology project. Um, Throughout the Sociology course, I learned that sociology is much more than just studying people. It is the study of how society influences the way we think, behave, interact with one another. Before taking this class, I usually believed that most people's successes or struggles came down to choices they made as individuals, while personal personality is still important. Sociology helped me realize that our opportunities and experiences are also shaped by social institutions, culture, family, education, and communities we grow in. This class changed the way I looked at everyday life because now I find myself thinking about why society works the way it does instead of simply accepting things as normal. I've also become more aware of the different experiences people have based on factors such as race, gender, social class, and culture. Even though people may live in the same country or community, they can have very different opportunities and challenges. Sociology gave me a new perspective that I think I will continue to use long after this class is over. One concept that stood out to me was the sociological imagination. Sociological imagination is the ability to connect personal experiences with larger social issues. For example, instead of only looking at an individual situation, it encourages us to examine how society influences that person's life. This idea is important because it reminds us that many problems are not just personal problems. They can also be connected to economic conditions, education, healthcare, um, family structure, or government policies. A good example of the sociological imagination is unemployment. If one person loses a job, it may seem like a personal issue. Um, However, if thousands of people lose their jobs because of recession or changes in the economy, it becomes a social issue. Another example is the rising cost of college. Um, Students often work hard, and but many still struggle with tuition, textbooks, and living expenses. Sociology teaches us what social factors are contributing to these problems instead of assuming that every situation is entirely someone's fault. Learning about the sociological imagination has changed the way I think about people I meet every day. Instead of making quick judgments, I try to think about what circumstances or social factors may have influenced their situation. I believe that many people are more understanding, respectful, and compassionate. Another concept that has made a strong impact on me was culture. Before this class, I mostly thought of culture as traditions, food, holidays, or language, the basic stuff. Sociology showed me that culture is much more broader than that. Culture includes beliefs, values, norms, symbols, and behaviors that people learn from society. Culture shapes the way we communicate, solve problems, and the way we think. One example is how different cultures have different expectations about family roles, education, or personal independence. Something considered normal in one society but may seem unusual in another. Um, Learning about cultural differences helped me understand why it's important not to judge other people based on my own experiences or beliefs. This concept also relates to sorry. This concept also relates to the growing diversity in the United States. People from different cultural backgrounds work together to attend schools and interact every day. Understanding culture can reduce misunderstandings and encourage respect for people with different traditions and perspectives. I think this is especially important in healthcare because professionals interact with patients from many different backgrounds. Understanding how culture can improve communication and help provide better care. A third concept that really stood out to me was social inequality. Social inequality refers to like unequal distribution of resources, opportunities, or power amongst different groups in society. Throughout this course, we discussed factors such as income, education, or race, gender, and social class can affect a person's opportunities in life. Before taking sociology, I knew inequality existed, but I never really thought about how different factors contribute to it. Like sociology helped me understand that inequality is not often connected to larger systems, but institutions rather than just individual efforts. That does not mean people cannot overcome those challenges, because it isn't the same. Individuals begin life with more advantage than others. An example of that could be access to education or this class. Some communities have schools with better funding, newer technology, and more educational opportunity than others. Students who attend underfunded schools may overcome additional obstacles before reaching the same goals. Another example is healthcare. That's a big one. People with higher incomes often have easier access to medical care, while others may delay treatment because of cost or lack of insurance. These examples describe how social inequality can affect everyday life in meaningful ways. One of the things I appreciated most about this course was that it encouraged me to think critically, instead of accepting simple answers. Sociology taught me how to ask questions such as, why does this problem exist? Who benefits from this current system? What social forces influence people's decisions? Those questions help me understand issues from multiple perspectives rather than only my own. Another important lesson was that stereotypes do not tell the whole story about individuals or groups. Throughout the semester, we discussed prejudice, discrimination, gender, race, and social identities. These topics remind me that every person has a unique experience and that making assumptions about others can lead to unfair treatment. Sociology encourages people to look beyond stereotypes and recognize the complexity of human behavior. I also found it interesting that to learn about different sociological perspectives, including functionalism, conflict theory, and symbolic interactionism. Even though these theories examine society in different ways, each one provides useful insights, such as structural functionalism focuses on how institutions work together to maintain stability. Conflict theory examines power and inequality between groups. Symbolic interactionism looks at everyday interactions, how people create meaning through communication. Learning these different perspectives helps me realize there is rarely only one explanation for social issues. Overall, this course has changed me, the way I think about society. I now pay more attention to the news, social media, and current events because I naturally start thinking about sociological concepts behind them. Whether the topic is education, healthcare, crime, politics, or technology, I can see how different influences affect individual lives in many different ways. If I could provide one suggestion, is to improve this course for future students, I would recommend including even more discussions about current events, especially, and real life cases studies. I think we learn the best when they can connect sociological concepts to situations they see in everyday life. Real world examples make that material easier to understand and remember. Overall, I really enjoyed this class. I've taken Psychology 1, Psychology 2, and this is my third Sociology, and I've learned a lot. It kind of gives an explanation to everything, and I really enjoyed that, and it gave me a better understanding of how individuals and society influence one another. I believe these lessons will be valuable not only in future classes, but also in my personal life and career. As someone interested in healthcare, understanding different cultures and social inequality and the experiences of others will help me communicate more effectively with patients and provide more compassionate care. In conclusion, sociology has shown me that society is much more complex than I once believed. People are influenced by families, schools, culture, communities, social institutions, and many other that shape everyday life. Learning about concepts such as sociological imagination, culture, social inequality has changed the way that I view the world. I will continue these ideas long after this course ends, and because they help me better understand the people around me and the society we all share. Thanks for listening. Thank you for a great semester.